Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We'll take you to a stocker operation in Arkansas, plus the latest cattle industry news and a visit to an award-winning family ranch in Colorado.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Leading our news this week, the clock is winding down on the opportunity to comment on the EPA's proposed rule governing waters of the United States. However, the comment period ends October 20th, so there's still time for cattlemen and women to get engaged in helping the National Cattlemen's Beef Association stop this rule that would potentially impact farms and ranches across the United States.
And as an association, we have a goal of generating 10,000 comments into EPA to let them know that this is unacceptable, that this is the biggest land grab we have ever seen from a federal agency. And basically, it is going to have or allow the EPA and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to intrude on farms and ranches around the country. So that is our focus right now. That comment period is, as I said, open right now and goes until October the 20th.
I would encourage all producers to go to the NCBA website, beefusa.org, and literally take the 2 minutes that it takes to submit those comments into the EPA. It's important for members to get engaged. They need to make sure that not only do they submit comments, but their spouses submit comments, their adult children are submitting comments, their neighbors are submitting comments. It really is easy, and it doesn't take much time at all. But if we can't push back on this proposed rule, it's going to set a precedent moving forward about how the EPA can actually move over industries like the cattle industry. So we have to make sure we stay strong and our voices are heard.
Once again, to submit your comments to EPA, urging them to ditch the rule, just go to the website beefusa.org. There's a link there to quickly and easily voice your opinions to the EPA. Recent studies have shown that the investment in the beef checkoff creates significant return on investment. However, the $1 per head assessment doesn't go as far as it used to. We're joined now by NCBA CEO Forrest Roberts to talk a little bit more about the checkoff enhancement work and what's being done on behalf of the beef industry. Forrest, thanks for coming back to the show.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
You know, we've heard a lot about this producer-funded program, the beef checkoff, and the kind of support it's experiencing in the country among producers. Tell us about that.
Well, the beef checkoff program is probably one of the most smartest decisions that beef producers made back in the 1980s when they brought this national program to fruition with the 1985 Beef Act and Order. And what we do is we have an opportunity in working with the Cattlemen's Beef Board to look at how producers really think about not only the outcomes that are being generated from that $1 per head investment, but also how the work is done. And more recently, that study would demonstrate that almost 80% of producers here in this country have a favorable level of support for not only the outcomes that are being achieved, Kevin, but also how those outcomes are being delivered. So that's a very positive level of support when we look at producer attitudes toward today's beef checkoff program.
Well, let's talk about return on investment, because at the end of the day, producers want to know what their dollar is getting them. And I understand, based on some recent press, that there's been a study demonstrating a significant ROI on each checkoff dollar.
Sure. As a proud contractor to the beef checkoff program, this data really did make us feel very proud. There's several organizations that are contractor to the program, and what the study revealed, Kevin, is that for every $1 that is invested per head by beef producers, there's an $11.20 return on that $1 investment back to them in their operations, whether that mean increased beef demand or managing issues that would denigrate the image of our industry. So I don't know of any business, not just here in this country, but anywhere in the world, that wouldn't thrive with an $11.20 return on that investment. So a significant outcome, and what I think ultimately means we're really delivering the results that really matter in order to give those kind of returns to producers.
Yeah, if you have some more 11-to-1 investment opportunities, you make me the first phone call, all right?
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about the oversight that goes into it, because a lot of producers I talk to say, so who's watching, these funds, and how is it being reviewed? There's a lot of scrutiny, Forrest, I know, that goes into it, a lot of audits, and tell us a little bit about those audits, about some of the findings of those audits?
Sure. Well, in 1985, the Beef Act, an order that was brought forth and approved by Congress and further supported through a referendum process by all beef producers in this country, gave the creation of the Cattlemen's Beef Board, which has an incredible role to provide that producer-made and based oversight over the program in making decisions on where dollars are funded and how those programs are being implemented. The role of the Ag Marketing Service within the USDA in Washington, D.C. has a critical role as well to be able to look at the oversight of the Cattlemen's Beef Board and us as contractors to make sure that not only the dollars are being invested wisely, but they're being invested in a way that is congruent and consistent with the law of the 1998 and 1985 Beef Act and Order. And what we've seen over the past several years is that the audits that we've conducted, not only in our own shop, but also what's been conducted, more importantly, by the Office of General Counsel. So if you look at the Office of the Inspector General, the OIG, they recently conducted an audit of the beef checkoff program and how the work is being done. And the bottom line is they concluded that not only is the work delivering results, but more importantly, the results are being delivered in a way that is consistent with the law by all contractors, including NCBA. So that is of the highest level of audit emphasis that we could probably ever see. And so we were very happy to see the results that came from that. And that also indicates that the Cattlemen's Beef Board is really doing a very nice job in administering this program.
That is good news, and this is a fascinating conversation. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with more right after this.
Whether you're feeding cattle, milking cows, or baling hay, the work on your farm is never done. Which is why you need equipment that works as hard as you do. Get the efficiency and versatility you need with Case IH. From Farmall compact and utility tractors to balers and mowers, all Case IH equipment is designed with one thing in mind: getting the job done. To learn more, visit caseih.com/livestock.
There's something wrong. His head is down. He's clearly stressed. He's worried sick about BRD. That's why there's prescription Zactran for BRD treatment and control in high-risk cattle. Get a rapid response plus 10-day treatment and control in a single dose, so you can stop worrying and get back to business. For use in cattle only, do not treat cattle within 35 days of slaughter. Because a discard time in milk has not been established, do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, or in calves to be processed for veal. The effects of Zactran on bovine reproductive performance, pregnancy, and lactation have not been determined. Don't worry yourself sick. Talk to your veterinarian about a real alternative for BRD treatment and control. Because it's critical, it's Zactran. From Mariel, a leading animal health company.
No storm is too powerful for new Purina Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, formulated with ultimate weather resistance. That means more minerals in the feeder and available to your cattle. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals provide more consistent intake and balanced mineral nutrition to optimize herd health and breedback rates. See the difference at your local Purina dealer or visit cattlenutrition.com. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, another way Purina is building better cattle.
I'm an NCBA member because NCBA, they look at the facts, they look at the history, and they look what's good for the industry.
It's important to be NCBA members just because of what NCBA does. They keep us informed about a lot of things that are going on nationwide.
The reason we're an NCBA member is we think that it's the best voice that the cattle people have.
Join NCBA today. Head to beefusa.org or call 866-USA-BEEF.
We're back with NCBA CEO Forrest Roberts discussing the beef checkoff. Forrest, there's been a lot of conversations recently about the beef checkoff, and I know NCBA has been exploring the possibility for several years about enhancing the checkoff. What might that entail?
Well, there's been 11 organizations that have looked for the past 3 years at what are the things necessary to improve upon the efficiencies and the effectiveness of the current program in order to look at garnering support across this country and across this industry for an enhancement to the assessment rate, going from $1 per head to something north of that. And so we've had a lot of discussion over the past 3 years, and even for about 3 or 4 years before this last process started. And so that is where we're focused today, is trying to understand what is it that we need to do to continue to increase effectiveness and efficiency with the program that will be enabling us to garner that support for an increase in the assessment. So when you look at today's all-time high approval rating of the current program, and as we were just discussing, this $11.20 return on investment, effectively what we have is a very effective program that's delivering these results that really matter. But it's just a program that's underfunded. So when we look at all the challenges facing our industry, and probably more importantly, Kevin, all the opportunities that face this industry in the next 5, 10, and perhaps for the next 2 decades, the real question is, what do we need to do to garner that support across the industry for an already highly effective program to put a little more fuel in that fuel tank to make it even more successful?
There are not many companies that'll double the price of their product and spend less on marketing. I know that for sure.
Absolutely.
Tell us why NCBA is so committed both to the checkoff, but more importantly to this enhancement effort.
Well, if you go back and look at history, NCBA and our predecessor organizations, we have been involved in this program or this type of work for over 50 years. And in coordinating that first with a lot of our state partners, and what we see today with the 45 qualified state beef councils across this country, that work began, Kevin, greater than 50 years ago. And so as you look at what culminated into the 1970s then and into the 1980s, what I hope people in the country see is that this program and our work as a contractor from NCBA's perspective into the program, it is essentially a core value of this organization to work our tails off to do everything we can to not only protect and grow demand for beef here domestically, but also work with a lot of our key stakeholder partners like the U.S. Meat Export Federation to generate that demand for beef in these international markets. And we've been able to demonstrate why that's so important through this process over the past 3 years to look at enhancements. And a couple things that we've done that's highly impactful to this program today is, number one, we've expanded contracting authority. So the number of organizations today, Kevin, that can bring an idea forward to be considered and funded to be able to do some of this work is north of 50 organizations. Wow. And so there was a lot of feedback that said we need to have more organizations have the ability to contract. So we worked together. We found a way to approach the Secretary of Agriculture, Bill Sack, to be able to look at making that change. Secondly, we had a lot of feedback around how do we make sure that we have the joint advisory committees be populated by producers from the Cattlemen's Beef Board and through our Federation of State Beef Councils, and essentially remove the policy seat from the discussion so that we maintain that autonomy that we need. We did that as well, and we brought forward a new joint advisory committee structure that enables those discussions to happen again in the most effective and efficient way. So effectively what I'm trying to communicate to everyone is that yes, we have a very successful program. It is a core value of what NCBA believes and what we want to be able to be a part of delivering for this industry. We just need to come back and look at how do we make an already successful program more successful.
Yeah. And it is quite a success story, so tell us, what are the next steps?
Actually, this week we are meeting with the Secretary of Agriculture at his office in Washington, D.C. to be able to look at the feedback as well as the outcomes that have already been achieved by this Beef Checkoff Enhancement Working Group. Again, these 11 organizations. Recently, there's one that has decided they would like to not be a part of this on a go-forward basis. So we're going to come back together. We're going to talk about the progress that's been made, hear the Secretary's perspectives about what he thinks is important, and then we'll be outlining what those next steps are. But I can guarantee you that NCBA is not only committed to this process and committed to achieve these outcomes, we're committed in such a way that we're wanting to be a part of helping to lead these outcomes in a way that brings our industry together, not tears our beef community apart, and also in a way that moves toward how do we look at 5, maybe 10 years from now, Kevin, we've got a $20 return on investment to that $11 plus investment that we have today.
Sounds like a great plan to me. Thank you so much for coming and joining us, Forrest.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you having me today.
To learn more about NCBA and its role as a checkoff contractor, visit beefusa.org. Still ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We have a renewable resource with the grass, and as long as we keep that grass growing, we can produce cattle.
We'll take you to a family ranch in Colorado where 3 generations work together. And we'll hear what some cattle producers around the country are thinking about expanding their herd. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen on RFD TV.
This isn't a job, it's a calling. Your hard work helps feed the world. Being linked to those who care for the land is our calling. For more than 175 years, John Deere has been a proud partner of the cattle business. That's why we bring you special NCBA member discounts, so you can get the right equipment, strong, rugged, versatile, and ready to work hard. Talk to your John Deere dealer to learn more about your NCBA member discounts. John Deere, committed to the land, committed to your success.
We stand for what we believe in. We believe in you. It's more than a job. It's your way of life. Who you are, where you live, and what you do. The way you treat your cattle, your family, your employees, and your neighbors. The water you drink, the air you breathe, and the ground you walk on. What you do every day gives families something to gather around every night. It's about doing what's right for your cattle, your land, your community, and your business. It's your livelihood, and it means as much to us as it does to you. We all believe in responsible beef. Let's stand together at responsiblebeef.com.
Hello, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Each week, we travel the country to bring you the latest cattle industry news and information. Check us out at cattlementocattlemen.org or on Facebook and Twitter. Welcome back. Herd expansion is on the minds of many as fall approaches. At the recent Cattle Industry Convention, we asked some cattle producers about their plans for expansion.
Well, we are planning on herd expansion, and on our particular ranch, we'll probably do it keeping back heifers, but the opportunity here with the markets the way they are and with our forage situation, our grass situation, is to replenish from when we destocked 3 years ago, and then hopefully we'll be able to expand through some projects we're doing to expand our grazing management and our water systems so that we can grow our herd and take advantage of the opportunities that are there in the market.
I'm a cattle feeder. I'm dependent on cow-calf producers to bring calves to me. So I am really at the mercy of what happens, especially in the Northwest, Idaho and Northwest, as far as those cow numbers. Right now we've been maintaining pretty good cow numbers for the entire Northwest. So I'm optimistic that we'll see some expansion, especially given current market prices. If that doesn't entice producers to expand their numbers a little bit, I don't know what will. But we're seeing the record high prices, and obviously I'd like to grow my business as we see more cow numbers in our Northwest area.
Well, around my outfit, I've got, kids that are in the outfit. We're always in herd expansion, and but it's a little easier, when Mother Nature's participating with us and giving us the opportunity to stock up. So, yeah, we're putting more cows out just as hard as we can.
Out in the country, expansion is also on the minds of cattle producers like Bruce Alford, operator of a multi-generational stocker operation in Arkansas. Stocker operations play a key role in the beef supply chain, and they depend on a steady supply of calves for their livelihood. As backgrounders, they work to transition calves between weaning and placement in the feed yard. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Russell Nemitz shows us how one operation in Arkansas helps its animals efficiently pack on the pounds.
Bruce Alford Farms is a cattle backgrounding operation located in the southwest corner of Arkansas. Owner Bruce Alford continues the tradition started by his father back in the 1950s.
He started here in 1956 and had to start on little scales, small scales, and since then we started our own operations and added to his and just made it bigger and bigger. We feed a handful of cattle. We buy the 2 and 3 weights and put them on wheat and gain them on grass as much as possible and sell them to feed yards.
Stocker operators like Bruce rely on forage in combination with grains to increase a calf's weight by several hundred pounds and to build up immunity to diseases before it enters a feedlot. Over the years, Bruce has found that one of the keys to healthy animals is getting the cattle off to a good start once they arrive at his place.
The main thing is to get them to eating and drinking. So far, it's worked real good. Now, we do need to make some changes yet. You don't never quit changing, but it's worked good, and then we'll put them in traps for a short period of time, 30 days, and try to put them out in bigger pastures after that. The ones that perform well will gain well. In a short period of time, there's nothing to get 2 pounds a day gains out of them in the first 2 weeks. And one that is challenged would be different. They're not going to gain as good. The health problem's going to be worse. It's just totally different.
Diagnosing and treating sick animals is essential in the stocker business. Bruce says there's one thing cow-calf operators could do to help make life a little easier for the people in the cattle industry farther down the production pipeline.
Get a good vaccination program and put them on. Go ahead on. Put it in them and go on. It help the respiratory problems and the whole shebang. It help us a whole bunch.
An ample supply of good quality pasture throughout the grazing season is the goal of every stocker operator. But when the grass is down, Bruce gets creative to make sure his cattle are gaining. That means turning to some non-traditional ways to feed the cattle, like peanuts.
The pellets, a lot of them come from Alabama and Georgia and everywhere else. And they are peanut hull pellets because normally they're cheaper and they work good for us. And cottonseed hulls, we use cottonseed hulls. It's syrup, put a little syrup in it, get a smell on it. Most of the cattle we buy don't know what feed is, don't know what water troughs are or anything else. So you kind of got to train them and tow them a little bit.
Bruce buys and sells cattle throughout the year. Although there are many options for marketing cattle, Bruce prefers to sell his animals directly to feed yards and order buyers.
I'm probably different than most people. When I'm ready to sell, I'm ready to sell. And I get it done. I don't have to wait 2 weeks to put them on the video and get them on television, get them sold. And sometimes that's bad and sometimes it's good. But usually when I feel it's right to sell, I'm selling.
Despite the challenges that he faces on a day-to-day basis, Bruce is confident in the long-term outlook for the beef industry.
The market right now is unbelievable. We're in ground that none of us have ever seen before that's in the cattle business. The prices are just unbelievable, and I do think that the market will be fine for a while. It's no doubt with prices that we have today that they will rebuild the herds if they got the market to do it with. It's a totally different deal today than it was just a few years ago. You're looking at a world market today. We're getting so many people. I think the beef industry, I think it's all going to be good for us for several years to come.
And hopefully, Bruce's outlook for a bright future in the cattle business proves to be correct. Reporting from Louisville, Arkansas, I'm Russell Nemitz for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
To join cattlemen and women like Bruce Alford and help support NCBA's efforts to improve the operating environment for the entire beef industry, just visit the website beefusa.org or call 1-866-USA-BEEF. Still ahead, we'll visit with Baxter Black, and next, we'll visit an award-winning cattle operation right here in Colorado. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
To truck guys, the truck is everything. And when you put them in charge of making an unbeatable truck, good things happen. This is the Ram 1500, the 2014 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. And first ever back-to-back winner. Guts, glory, Ram.
Their best performance begins with Lifeline. A revolutionary performance product with a unique active ingredient. So they feel their best, breathe with ease, and move effortlessly. Bring out the greatness inside them. Learn more about Lifeline's unique bioactive proteins at watchthemthrive.com.
Back on those Texas plains. Join us, Riders in the Sky, for sizzling hot San Antonio.
It's the 2015 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show.
So grab the family and head to Texas for the latest cattle industry information and education, plus some fun and entertainment with us.
It's an event you won't want to miss. Join us in San Antonio, Texas, February 4th through February 7th. There's plenty more information at beefusa.org.
And we'll be back on those Texas plains. See you there, Saddle Pals.
For the past several weeks, we've been visiting the 2014 ESAP Award winners. This week, we're headed to Colorado and the Weininger Davis Ranch.
Established in 1938, Weininger Davis Ranch is a multi-generational cow-calf operation in southeastern Colorado. Although most of the day-to-day activities are handled by brothers Russell and Warren Davis, their 93-year-old father, Lyle, still has an active role in the operation.
My father, Lyle Davis, still very much a part of the ranch, and then 3 younger brothers. There's 4 brothers involved in this. 2 brothers currently, myself and Warren, still part of the working operation.
You know, Dad taught us from day one. I mean, I could remember riding cattle with him, taking off, going to the sale with him. He has taught us everything we know about ranching.
I am well pleased with what we're doing with the cattle, and the kids have taken the ball and gone with that.
Weininger Davis Ranch consists of 12,000 acres in 2 separate land parcels. Both locations have dealt with severe drought over the last several years, which has presented serious challenges when it comes to managing the ranch's resources.
If we would get 5 inches of rain a year, it would grow us grass and feed the cattle. But we haven't even had that the last few years.
We couldn't do anything about the wind, the dirt blowing, the damage that it had done, but you can minimize the impact that cattle have on a piece of ground. And so that's what we did. That's how we handled that.
Several years ago, the family began looking at ways to diversify and maintain a more stable operation. Things really changed when the family learned that the short grasses on the ranch make for excellent habitat for wildlife, particularly one rare bird.
In 2001 was kind of a game changer for myself, for the ranch, when we discovered that we had mountain plovers, and evidently they'd been here for the life of the ranch, and I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of it. And so we began a journey at that point to try to understand the wildlife values and what was happening here on the landscape and why these birds and other shortgrass prairie birds were here. I tell folks that, you know, if you drive by the ranch on Highway 71, there's not a sign out there that says mountain plovers welcome here. And in reality, what we were doing and how we were managing the cattle was why the birds were there.
To ensure the long-term protection of the wildlife resources, the family converted the ranch to a perpetual conservation easement. The easement requires present and future landowners to maintain and protect the native ecosystems and requires proper livestock grazing to benefit the wildlife species.
But it took us about 3 years to work through that transformation to begin to fully understand the importance of it, the value of it. We didn't need to change up the way that we were doing business, but that we could continue to do the things that we do every day.
We wanted to be sure that it didn't harm the way that that we can be a ranch, that we can be a going concern, a business. We have areas set up for prairie dogs, we have areas set up for wildlife that they can establish themselves. We don't have to pull the cattle off.
It is exciting for me that we have in place specific things for the future of the ranch, and that the ranch, according to the easement, will stay in the cow-calf business forever.
The Davises believe in educating others about sustainable agriculture, so the family hosts educational tours and workshops to demonstrate the important relationship between conservation and agriculture.
What we have found was that the most effective way to help folks to understand what was going on here was to stand them out here and explain to them what's going on and to see it firsthand, and it gives us opportunity to have conversations with folks about what's happening here.
At Weiniger Davis Ranch, conservation is becoming a lifestyle, not just a land management strategy. The future is brighter for the Davis family, thanks to their ongoing dedication to their cattle and the environment.
We have a renewable resource with the grass, and as long as we keep that grass growing, we can produce cattle.
I try to stay away from that word proud. I don't like that word. I'm happy with it. I'm glad that they're getting it done, yes.
We have the opportunity to grow beef here that's going to feed the rest of the world. I mean, what we're doing here is going to have an impact. We are at a much different place than we were pre-2000 through all of this, and it's a good place to be. I mean, it's really very thankful. So I'm excited about the future, excited about what the ranch is doing and where it's going.
To join your fellow cattlemen and women as a member of NCBA or to learn more about the benefits, visit our website, beefusa.org. Up next, we'll see how strategic parasite control can play an important role in managing your herd and improving your bottom line. Stay with us.
New Holland is the undisputed leader in hay tools. We give farmers a wide range of innovative equipment that increases efficiency and productivity all year round. Because to us, smart means providing a smooth, clean cut with faster dry down, plug-free conditioning, and superior bale density. And smart means leaving less hay on the field to feed more livestock in less time. That's New Holland Smart. Visit your local New Holland dealer today.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right, where it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots. When you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real and feeding my family a home-cooked meal. That's important to me. That's important to me. And planting the garden and watching it grow. It's
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. From Capitol Hill to the far side of cattle country, the National Cattleman provides information NCBA members need. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of The National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
There's nothing prettier than cattle grazing on a green pasture, but the hidden threat of internal parasites reducing the health and performance of pasture cattle is serious business. We learn more about the importance of an effective strategic approach to cattle deworming from Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter.
Cattlemen and women have plenty of challenges for maintaining a healthy herd and controlling internal parasites. It's important for producers to know exactly what they're up against. Smart deworming allows producers to target specific parasites common to their region and their cattle.
The control of parasites is changing continuously, both in the way we manage animals as well as the compounds that are available to control the parasites. If they don't have a strategic deworming program, and parasitism just runs rampant, and you end up having significant weight losses so that the animals don't look good, they don't grow as well. So parasites really need to be controlled.
Working with a veterinarian helps make developing a strategic deworming program simple. Producers can then better recognize how identifying prevalent parasites, properly timing deworming, and understanding product labels play into the mix.
The big thing for producers are to work with their local veterinarian to be able to know the best time to use an anthelmintic, to be able to develop a plan to strategically deworm our animals, to know what parasites are out there so that we know that we're not just going after everything that may be there, but to know what is there. So the control of parasites is a huge issue. It is a very complicated issue. You have to understand the life cycle before you want to be able to treat it. So either in the spring or the fall, when we're turning out onto green grass, we want to use a very effective broad spectrum anthelmintic. Timeliness of our deworming is key. We are less likely to have resistant issues and control the refugia so that we have some sensitive parasites out on pasture.
It's always a good idea to do follow-ups after you treat, whether you're trying to do a more concerted effort or just to check and see, have we removed the parasites?
The experts note that just because a product is long-acting doesn't mean it will kill the broadest spectrum of parasites. With that, Dr. Hilbig stresses the importance of recognizing label claims to fully understand the product and dose accordingly.
So label claims are extremely important. If we're underdosing, we're selecting for resistance. We're not only not getting all the parasites, which is costing us a huge disadvantage on the performance of our animals. So we need to know the weight of the cattle and dose accordingly. A broader spectrum product is going to be more advantageous if I can use the right product at the right time. It will save me money and improve the performance on my animals.
Zoetis offers 2 effective broad-spectrum parasite control products that offer different methods for control and fit nicely into normal cattle working activities in the spring and fall.
I like to think of deworming at turnout. The other time that very often becomes important to deworm, and that is at weaning, when you're trying to clean up those baby calves before you're going to sell them. I like to use a compound like doramectin at turnout.
The nice thing about Dectomax is that you're going to get 28 to 30 days, which is going to be long enough to be able to get a good kill on inhibited ostratasia. If a producer determines that they've got liver flukes or they've got a severe cupuria problem, valbuzin should be one of the things they need to look at. They will get effect on ostratasia and they will clean up their cupuria problem very well.
By taking a smart, strategic approach to deworming, producers can expect a more healthy and productive herd and ultimately help improve their bottom line.
I think parasite control adds value in many ways. Certainly, you end up weaning heavier calves.
Deworm smart in your operation and remember to identify prevalent parasites, properly time the use of dewormers, and understand the product labels. I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more on the benefits of strategic parasite control or any of the full suite of products and services from Zoetis, visit zoetisus.com. Stay with us. We'll be back with Baxter Black and more right after this.
There's a lot of ways of looking at a vaccination program. And number one, if you ask yourself what you're trying to accomplish, it's we want to preserve the pregnancy in that cow. It's important to protect the cow against any reproductive disease because the investment you have in these animals that are bred is pretty substantial. Control starts at conception and goes all the way through the entire productive life of that animal. And the vaccines are an insurance towards maintaining that pregnancy and maintaining your investment. So when we're differentiating effectiveness of vaccines, modified lives when it comes to fetal protection reach a higher level of security than we can accomplish with the all-killed products. To help the producer understand what they're designed for, look very closely at the label for fetal protection, because if the label claims fetal protection against BVD and IBR, the vaccine actually protects against infection in utero and protects that calf against persistent infection from BVD. Bovishield Gold FP and PregGuard FP have the same label claims of a year-long duration of immunity for IBR and BVD. The only difference really is that PregGuard does not have the BRSV component in the vaccine. So when we're chasing IBR and BVD, the PregGuard Gold FP has the same label claims as does the Bovishield Gold FP. When you can achieve a year-long duration of immunity for both IBR and BVD with those levels of protection, it simplifies your vaccination program.
If you're not using IMI Global's verification programs, you might as well set your money on fire. To give your wieners added value, no program begins without a traceable animal. Then add on BQA and other specialties and you open up a whole new market for your calves. You might be thinking, the market's so good, why bother? You ever heard of making hay when the sun shines? You got a choice. Get in the game or visit IMIGlobal.com.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, long hauls, never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
Whenever we introduce a new horse to the ranch, it often takes a while for him to adjust. Where we live, the country's pretty brushy, meaning cat-clawed mesquite and cactus of all kinds. It is also riven with steep sides and arroyos and canyons and jagged rocks. Well, I traded for a young horse and took her out for her first gather. We'd ridden about 2 miles with her snorting and stopping and sliding and whinnying for other horses to save her. We slid off a slope and hit a small arroyo at the bottom. She stood shaking. I was egging her on, but to no avail, she wouldn't move. Completely overwhelmed, she laid down in the sand like a cow. Well, I sat still in the saddle with my stirrups on the ground, and we had a short conversation, about a minute, I guess, and then she took a deep breath and rose to the occasion. The South Dakota Badlands can overpower a horse, too. Shorty told me he took a green gelding out to check cows on his Pine Ridge lease one day. Rough country, mostly rocky and uneven. And off to the side, he spotted a big old bull. Well, Shorty decided to push the bull on down the creek. So the bull started down the steep trail into the creek bed, but then he turned back the wrong way. Well, Shorty loped back up the creek bank, hee-hawed and hollered and waving his arms to shoosh the bull. But all the hoopla spooked the horse, who jumped the bank and landed a straddle of the bull. Well, the bull let out down the creek, the horse rolled off the bull, and Shorty rolled off the horse. Well, the frightened horse climbed the bank and took off. Shorty topped the rim, and there stood this inexperienced novice pony, eyes wide and nostrils flaring, not 20 feet away. Somewhere in his little equine brain, he was processing his options. The bull, the rock, the trailer, mother, and home. Not having any experience in his young life to compare this to, he actually walked up to Shorty, who touched the side of his face and sighed. I guess he just needed a hug. We all do sometimes. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. We always enjoy your special brand of cowboy wisdom. Stay with us. We'll have more right after this.
Sheila Carges. This is my husband Brock. We have two girls, Karina and Jessica. Both girls can pull cattle, doctor, process anything that we need them to do.
Using products that help keep the calves healthy, it helps my parents to be less stressful, it helps them to be at home more, and it helps pay more bills when you don't have to worry about sick cattle.
I'd say 99% of our cattle are high risk.
We've never seen a response due to metaphylaxis like we have with the Draxxin. I think Draxxin has a major role in any operation as far as your viability and your long-term outlook.
And how do you quantify having a peace of mind to take a vacation for a week or leave work early to go watch a basketball game? You can't quantify that.
Important safety information for Draxxin. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Do not use in dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Effects on reproductive performance, pregnancy, and lactation have not been determined.
Ever wonder where the beef checkoff dollar goes and what it buys? The Federation of State Beef Councils is made up of the 45 qualified state beef councils that collect the $1 per head beef checkoff. Each council keeps control of 50 cents and sends 50 cents to the Cattlemen's Beef Board for use in national beef checkoff programs. Many states also choose to send a portion of their share to the Federation to expand national and international efforts. As a division of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, the Federation of State Beef Councils works to support an effective state and national partnership, helping to increase beef demand through research, promotion, and education. Because producers themselves direct these programs, your beef checkoff dollars are in good hands. Learn more about the Federation of State Beef Councils by visiting beefusa.org.
To stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, check out beefusa.org. You'll find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill. Plus, link to NCBA programs like the blog, Beltway Beef, updates on the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Connect today at beefusa.org.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. The NCBA Trade Show is always a major draw for producers. Let's take a look at what cattlemen and women have to say about it.
The trade show is always a highlight of the convention. I've been to many other conventions, and NCBA convention, no one holds a candle to it. It's by far the best convention that I've ever been to.
The NCBA trade show is the #1, for me, cattle trade show anywhere, ever. You know, I have great things I can go to at home. Husker Harvest Days is a big event, but it's all farming. This is just cattle focused, and you can pick and choose the vendors that really fit your operation, and guaranteed they're there because they know they have the best captive audience anywhere, and they bring it. Every vendor that can be at the trade show, and we always have a waiting list. The ones that get in, they bring their A game, and they really present the best of what they have.
It's now time for this week's Legacy Photos, and we're heading back to the Weiniger Davis Ranch in Colorado to take a closer look at the Region 5 ESAP winner. Let's have a look. Now remember, you can send us your pictures of your farm or ranch by visiting cattlemantocattleman.org. Include your ranch or farm name and your hometown, and we may just use them on a future episode. On next week's Cattleman to Cattleman, we'll take a look at the export markets with our friends at CattleFax. Plus, cattle industry news, I'll look at the Region 6 ESAP winner, and another visit with cowboy poet Baxter Black. Well, that's our time for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for watching. We hope we'll see you next week right here on RFD TV.